What's going on YouTube, and welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's Kevin Forte, and today we are taking a look at the Seattle Kraken as their season has come to a very disappointing end, but the future looks very bright in Seattle. If you would have told me the season after, the season that Seattle had last year, right? You look at what they did last year. This was a team that really struggled, right? They had 27 wins to their name, 60 points. They basically doubled their win total almost, and they picked up 40 more points than last season. They had 60 points during the regular season last year. They had 100 this season. The turnaround of the Seattle Kraken this year, between this year and last, is very much a reason for excitement for this team, a team that nobody gave a chance, right? They knock off the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche in the first round. They take the Dallas Stars to the brink of elimination in Game 7 of the second round. There's not much more you could ask for. I think there's a lot of excitement here in Seattle. You look at some of the guys in terms of their contract status for Seattle. Eberle, Wenberg, Schultz, and Chris Drieger each have 1 year left on their deals. Yanni Gourde, Brandon Tanev, Adam Larson each have 2 years left on their deals. Jaden Schwartz and Oliver Bjorkstrand and Jamie Alexiak have 3 years left on their deals. And then McCann, Grubauer, and Burakovsky each have 4 years left on their deals. So the Seattle Kraken, despite the fact that everybody said, well, they didn't have enough scoring last year, they maybe don't have the depth to go on a long playoff run, that has not been the case for the Seattle Kraken. They found a way. Basically, the mantra of the Seattle Kraken this season, or especially during the playoffs, has been they basically have 4 second lines. And the criticism is they don't have that first line, but they also don't have any, passenger lines. Passenger lines in the sense that everybody is contributing, everybody is very aggressive on the forecheck, and that kind of team mentality has really played out for the Seattle Kraken. And you consider the fact that you still have basically the entirety of this roster, there's a lot of reason to believe this team is capable of doing more than they did this year going into next year. What I think is really exciting about the Kraken, watching what they've kind of evolved into since last year, is their defense has gotten a lot better, and they have found a way to score more goals. And the combination of the two has really allowed them to find a lot of success, not only during the regular season, but in the postseason as well. And you look at their cap situation, going into this summer, you have Daniel Sprong and Morgan Geekie as RFAs, as well as Vince Dunn. So that'll be kind of interesting. And then you've also got Donato, who I don't think will come back, Carson Soucy, and Jesper Froden. I assume they'd want to keep him, and Martin Jones. So they're going to have some guys coming back, which I think is going to be a good thing. They missed Daniel Sprong for a couple games during this series. I think he's going to be a really big piece of this team. He was a former first-round pick of the Penguins back many, many eons ago. So I'm glad to see he's doing well in the NHL. So, the way I kind of look at Seattle right now is this is a team that has started to evolve since last year. Like I said, they got a little bit bigger on the blue line, right? Adding guys like Justin Schultz and Carson Soucy have really allowed this team to get better. Up front, obviously, Matty Beniers coming in and doing what he's done has been huge. Eli Tolvanen is a really exciting guy to watch. I'm excited to see what he does. This is a team that is still so freaking young. You look at all the younger guys on this team, right? Ty Kartai, 22 years old. Matt Beniers, 20 years old. On the blue line, you've got a lot of an older defense, but Cal Fleury is 24. Looking at some of the younger guys, Shane Wright is 19 still, right? So everybody says, oh, we didn't see him. He's 19 years old still. Alex True, 25. Riker Evans, 21. Petro Sapala, 22. Ty Nelson, who they just signed, is 19 years old. So this is a team that is still so young. And despite what they did this year, there is a lot to this team going into next season. Now, a lot of positives for this team. Jordan Eberle was really good for this team during the playoffs. Same thing for Yanni Gourde. Those two were incredible this year. Jordan Eberle leading the team in goals with 6 goals. Jaden Schwartz with 5 goals. Oliver Bjorkstrand throughout the entire season has been really good for the Seattle Kraken. And this team gave everything that they could to Dallas, and what they gave up in the first round of Colorado. You know, nobody had them going to the second round. Nobody had them knocking off the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche, but they did. And they did it in Colorado in a Game 7 on the road in Colorado. That is so difficult to do. And you hate to say, like, oh, well, you know, it's kind of a moral victory, but it's more than that. This is a building block to this franchise. And all this playoff experience for some of the younger guys on this team has been nothing short of incredible. And you look at the emergence of some of the guys on this team, like an Eeli Tolvanen, like a Matt Beniers, and especially a guy like Jared McCann, who led the team in goals during the regular season. These are the type of guys that needed to emerge. And we kind of saw this with Vegas in their first season in 2018. Was a lot of guys that were kind of cast off, kind of let go. You know, there's no opportunity, so I'll go to this team. Look how good those players are today. Guys like Jonathan Marchessault, William Karlsson, Chandler Stevenson, those guys were career bottom 6 players with their respective teams before they came to Vegas, and look what they've become now. And now we're seeing that for some of these guys that have since come to the Seattle Kraken, and in that opportunity, playing in the top 6 consistently, getting the ice time, getting the opportunity, they've flourished and taken full advantage of that. And that's what happens when you have these kind of teams, is they get those fringe players that turn into superstars and have something to prove. And they have definitely done that this year. So, you know, is it a lost season for Seattle? Absolutely not. They were playing with house money when they made it to the playoffs. Then they beat the Avalanche and now get to the second round. They were playing with house money the entire way, and they really proved that they are capable of going on a run. And this is great for the city of Seattle, growing the interest for this team, growing some hype around this team. You know, would I have liked to have seen Vegas versus Seattle in the Western Conference Final? Absolutely. But, you know, this team's going to host a Winter Classic next year, which is extremely exciting in their third season. How spoiled are they? In their third NHL season, they're going to be hosting a Winter Classic outdoors against Vegas. So I guess we'll see that instead. That's a nice consolation prize. But the Seattle Kraken are for real. And anybody that's saying that this team isn't capable can go to bed. Because we see this season what this team is capable of. So freaking close to getting to the Western Conference Final. And who knows, if they get there, the sky is the limit, right? So that is it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think of the Seattle Kraken. I think this is a really good team. They have so much potential. And, you know, you look at some of their draft picks. They've got some draft picks that if they want to move them to maybe bring some guys in, they absolutely can. They have 3 second-round picks this year. They have two 6th-round picks. So they have a little bit of draft capital to play with. I would assume they would try to add to this team to get a little bit better than they already are. So we'll see what happens. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys again next time.